Hello, internet. We're playing. Right, so it's just me for the moment. Otherwise, I would get someone to bring me a storage McDuffrey with Dewberry. I just set up at the end of the last stream a storage thingy way down here, which is not running. Hey Darren, I think I've asked this before, Darren. Did I go to school with you, or you're a different Darren Lindsay? It doesn't seem like that common a name, but maybe it is. Why is this machine not working? I wish we could rename the planets as well, because I don't remember where Schalke had a lithium extractor. I could do with some lithium. Now we do have power. Power is flowing. Mildly concerned I'm not seeing power going in or out though. We have a massive abundance of batteries and wind, because it's a windy planet. But nothing's happening. What did I build here? Alright, it's because this is the iron planet, so I did build a... You are a black version of someone I went to school with. Bit racist, isn't it? Canister on me. Now, I might have mentioned before, I grew up in deepest, darkest rural Cornwall, and I genuinely do not exaggerate. I didn't see my first black person until I went to London, like genuinely. And I mean this not in a, oh my god, they're everywhere, oh god, that's awful, but I was blown away by how many people weren't white, because television was almost entirely white people, and almost everybody I saw was white people, because Cornwall is like a 98-99% white area. It's the very, very, very rural arse end of the country. So that was my first experience of well, all coloured people, really, apart from the Indian people who ran the Indian and the Chinese people who ran the Chinese. Apart from that, almost entirely white people. One more for you. My thumbnail is probably the default channel I logo. I need to work out how to change at some point, because I don't know how. I wish I had a... Oh, I've got lots of iron. Yes, I mean, London is a very multicultural city, but Truro, for sake of argument, really isn't. Just Cornwall in general. I don't know why particularly. I mean, the thing is, a lot of this is very historic. We talked before about a place called Bradford, which I live near. So Bradford has the highest Muslim population country in the Muslim population in the whole country. That's because there are a lot of people who came over during the 60s to run the textile mills, which are all shut now. Yeah. So that's why Bradford, for sake of argument, has an enormous British Asian, not American Asian, because British Asians are from India and American Asians are from like China. Very confusing, I know. But yeah, I don't know why Cornwall is like that. There we go. I wonder if this is telling me it can't extract. Hello. I've got an extractor. It's not extracting. I don't know why. I think it might not be a dense enough bit. Guess I'll make another platform. Ugh. I was just chatting with the chat. Just
already going for democratic hate.
No. I democratic hate. No. I would just like to point out, just for the record, on the record, I absolutely have nothing against people on the basis of their color of their skin, but just on the things they say. There was some indie developer earlier. It's like, oh, I'm leaving. Hopefully this means that Twitter isn't so one-sided. And I was like, what do you mean Twitter's one-sided? Which side do you think's in control? Because I think we all know which side it is. I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, Twitter is evenly split between the Nazi right, the ultra-Nazi right, and the ultra-woke left. And he goes, just because the mere fact you've called them Nazis, but in fact they were very left-wing social, democratic socialists or something. And I'm like, right, so you're a Nazi then. Like, I've never run into someone who is actively defending the right wing so strongly by saying actually they're very, very strongly left wing. It's like, yeah, okay. And in the in my own inimitable way, off my fucking timeline. That's not what I said. Not specifically.
There are some cognitive effects where you will always feel like you are in the minority because you count the things that are against you much more saliently. Well, that's with you just ignore or pass quickly.
Well, thing is, I mean, I'm very, I'd say, centrist, depending on what country you're from. But he said to me, well, which side do you think is getting removed from Twitter? And I said, I think it's the side that's advocating hurting other people are getting removed. I'm not taking any sides, but as far as I'm concerned, as a rule, the left are very, very angry about things that J.K. Rowling say, and the right are generally very much against you owning guns and having abortions. I think that's a fair summation of the left and the right, but it's like, dude, are you telling me that left-wing people don't get removed from Twitter for being arseholes? Because I guarantee you they do. But he's like, oh, people should be able to share their opinions. I'm like, right, well, it's my opinion that you're a racist Nazi asshole, but it was just, oh, I've worked out it's not working, it's full. I said I've just never run into one in the wild before. I've just read about you sort of people, you people on the internet. But it's like, yeah, when you're actively defending the right wing, or even are actively what's the word? Denouncing it. I mean, I've been following some of the stuff in America. I think I've already decided what side you're on, and I don't really want to talk to you. I'm odd. I said I'm very not pro-abortion. That makes me sound like a child murderer. But I'm very pro-choice, and I think people should be able to own guns because guns are fucking awesome. If I was in America, I'd own dozens of guns, and they'd all be just so cool. Guns are so cool. But that doesn't really fit into left or right, so I don't know what I am. Also mentioned this before, in the UK, we don't have the same concepts of left and right as America. So in the UK, if you said on this political platform, I'm standing for like anti-abortion and pro-guns, I mean, that's not the right the right side of the spectrum in the UK. That's way off the right side. Like our far right does not advocate abortion control and guns. That's just not a thing. It's just, whereas the US, even the left is centrist at most, and it's still very weird seeing usually Americans, no offense, just not seeming to understand that their idea of the political spectrum is not. It's more like half the spectrum.
Well, they have a different society over there. So it's their political spectrum.
Yeah, but therefore it's not the political spectrum. I mean, I don't know if there are countries where the most right wing you get is centrist. I don't really know. Is free wing the correct term, Darren? Where you're like, oh, I don't know, a bit from each. You know, what happens if I'm for a corporal punishment but against guns? Like, you know, which is, I guess, a perfectly valid standpoint to take. I think it is half. I mean, unfortunately, your politicians, not so much. I mean, even Biden is very, very pro-capitalist, which in the UK, capitalism is a very right-wing attribute. But I think for America, Biden is quite lefty, but centrist at most. Just to clarify, I'm a computer programmer and I'm not really an expert in any of this shit.
Yeah, heaven forbid that politics would be actual about positions or like policies.
Well, the UK, we get this horrible thing where our left-wing government, who are not currently in power, basically just shouts at our right-wing government. Whatever our right-wing government do, it's wrong. No matter what it is. They never come back with, yeah, that's really good, but we would have done it 5 years ago. They just go, oh, no, definitely not that. Well, it just constantly. Or they'll say things like, the government hasn't gone far enough on this policy. But that's it. They're just sort of criticising without actually offering anything. That's it. But that to me, that's a very American thing. It is to attack the person, not the position. I'm not sure what the logical fallacy is. Just vaguely going, yeah, not that though. Possibly no true Scotsman. I'm not sure.
Do you have the same kind of voting that they have in Americas? Because first past the post makes only two parties viable, and then one is in power and one is in opposition.
Yeah, no. So we do have more parties than the US, like significantly so. But there are. The problem is the right wing has one main party, and the left wing has about three. So they end up being very split. There was a push to move towards proportional representation, but the amount of paid for political against that was amazing. So somebody really wants to keep it. Yeah, I mean, America does have a lot stronger push towards referendums, like small referendums, on a per state, I guess, basis. Which I was over in the US, there were people going, vote no on Proposition 372, and vote yes for Proposition 81, and all of the people I was staying with were very, very up on. What? Because I said that and went, Proposition 371 about changing the I don't know the I can't remember what it was. It was something like whether or not you can abort in the 4th trimester. I said that because it was obviously bollocks. And it's that sort of like I was like, oh wow, that's a really good idea. Like getting a more local people's opinion on stuff that is somewhat more local. My problem, and as I've mentioned before, is I'm just horrified by people's ignorance. So I had a guy earlier, as ambulance driver, saying you can't have electric ambulances because they do 700 kilometres a day, so they can't be charged. And I was like, sorry, they average 30 kilometres an hour. I don't believe you. I just don't believe that. But okay, sure. We'll say that's true. Why not? But then he's like, and all of the electrics just use up too much power. And I was like, well, they don't. This isn't true. Like, even if a Tesla battery, which is not a van battery, it's a car battery, uses an enormous 1,000 watts, it will run for 77 hours. It's irrelevant. But what sort of person genuinely thinks that the horn in an EV is even anything more than a blip on its sort of usage? And this is people's ignorance about stuff that's... I mean, for me, basic electricity was something we got taught at school. The little triangle with amps, volts, and resistance, current, and power? Is it resistance, current, and power? The amps is volts times watts. That sort of thing, divided by. And not knowing that worries me. Like, not knowing really simple things about how quite important things in your life work worries me that this person can vote.
It's not like voting is given to people that can use it well.
Yeah, but
so
it should
be.
It's like, as I mentioned, my mechanic asked me what I thought about Brexit, and it's like, mate, you shouldn't really ask me, because I'm a computer programmer. Don't ask me what my opinion is on Brexit. The government shouldn't have asked you. You're a mechanic. They shouldn't have asked me. I'm a programmer. I have no viable opinion on what I think about global international trade. And I am smart enough to realise I don't have any opinion in global international trade.
Do you think somebody should represent you?
I think someone who's really, really up on this shit should do it. Yes, of course, absolutely, 100%. This is not anything I have any skills or knowledge about whatsoever. So why the bloody hell are you asking me? Like, why am I being asked?
What's so dangerous then having other people get represented by having vote a representative into the lawmaker?
Well, because the number of people that understand, let's say, global international trade, I can probably count on a couple of hands. But the number of people that can vote are in the tens of millions. So the people who actually understand properly the ramifications of this stuff are in a tinier minority. I mean, a different example.
You would prefer an oligarchy as a system of governance?
That's a very bad term, I'm afraid, because that indicates that they're rich and powerful, not knowledgeable.
So you're a technocratic person?
I thought it was a meritocracy, but possibly. A less controversial example would be politicians in the UK have repeatedly said that we need to get rid of encryption because criminals can use it to hide stuff. And the banks have repeatedly pointed out, if you get rid of encryption, we have to shut down all the banks overnight and permanently. We can't run our banking system without encryption. And they're like, oh, we'll find a way. You can't do that. We'll have it so only the government have the key. That doesn't work because the key will get leaked or cracked or brute forced or whatever. And once it's gone, it's gone. But this keeps coming up. And it's stuff like this. It's because people who don't understand cryptography are getting asked or suggesting things like that. And it's just, that annoys me because a politician shouldn't, a politician should take I'm phrasing it right. A politician there should ask someone who is technical, and someone who's technical should go, that's not how it works. Then they go, right, okay, moving on. As opposed to, we really want it. You can't have it, but we really, really want it. It's like, you still can't have it. It's still not a thing you can have. But it keeps doing the rounds in the UK, like endlessly, because the government really want to be able to stop people hiding stuff from the government using encryption. They keep trying to ban encryption. and you can't. £1. Oh wow, this is £1 carbon. Oh. But yeah, I really do believe we should be in a meritocracy as opposed to people in power because their parents are rich, which is what we've actually got, sadly.
Meritocracy is difficult in how you define merit, and most definitions don't end up being very faithful to the general idea.
Well, see, here's the best bit. I'm just saying we should be a meritocracy. It's down to someone who is obviously an expert in this to actually sort it out, because that's how meritocracy would work. Solved.
You often end up in a system where some kinds of merit is counted and other kinds is not. And I don't think it would be much improvement if power would be in the hands who are currently rich rather than whose parents were rich.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's the situation we're in now. Much as might not want to be, that is genuinely our situation. People who are rich are in charge because they are, fortunately. And I'd like to see that change. I'd like to see a lot of things change, but unfortunately, I am mostly a programmer rather than a politician. It's like I mentioned to Max last night on the stream. If you really want to make change, go back in time 20 years and become a politician. That's how you make change.
Did they have better time then, or were more powerful?
No, because if you want to affect change today, you need to become a politician 20 years ago.
So you can only affect things in the future for decades.
That's pretty much, I'm afraid, Chuck. That's how everything works, in fact. If you want to affect stuff today, you have to have been a politician in the past, yes. You can't be a politician now and affect things in the past. Best you can do is affect things in the near future.
Do you think politics has a bigger lag than other things?
It doesn't matter. It's no. If I want to join the games industry and make real change or high-end games or anything in the games industry, I can't start today. I needed to have started a long time ago. Because you can't be a junior. You need to be a senior person in this. You can't join as a person who counts votes or something like that. You need to at this point be, Prime Minister, Chancellor of the Exchequer. You need to be somebody very high up, which is why you needed to start 20 years ago.
If the Prime Minister would take you seriously, wouldn't that be as good as being the Prime Minister?
Yes. I mean, if we had it so our politicians actually listen to... I mean, it's the trope from films. It's the scientists don't get listened to, but the businessmen do. And I'm afraid that's just based on, reality.
So why are the voters keeping representatives that don't listen to the scientists?
I mean, in my country, it's because we don't vote for the representatives, we vote for the party.
And nobody has tried to have a party that's line would be that we listen to scientists.
No, not really. I'm back in just 2 seconds. Just a minute. Hold that thought. And probably the closest we got in the UK is the Green Party, which you think would be heavily pushed by science, but it's in fact based completely in nonsense.
Some particular nonsense or nonsense in general?
It's stuff like, oh, we need to get rid of all nuclear power generation. Okay, what do we replace it with? We don't know. It's like, well, that's not a plan. It's the beginning of a plan. It's not a plan. And they're kind of... They're very much of the politician's sort of approach of how should we do it? Don't know, but not like that. Which you can't do. You know, you have to have a way of doing it, not just a way of not doing it. But in the UK, the Green Party are kind of famed for this sort of, oh shit, I've made a fluid in soil. I've made the wrong thing. I've flown it all the way from one planet to the other. I've made completely the wrong thing. Bollocks. I've made 2 of the wrong thing. Double bollocks. Arse. Bromana says, I don't have the solution. I just don't think what we've got is very good. I'm not sure if there are countries where we have something that's good, but where I am, not it.
Do we have an excursion planned for this session?
No, I did have a plan, but I've forgotten it, and unfortunately no one else seems to remember or reply. I would like to start working towards RTGs. I can't remember what we're lacking on that one, and a really big ass rover on Silver to start charging up the gateway. Right now, I was about to come back with a shit ton of iron and titanium, but I made the wrong thing. So I need to come back to Silver and hopefully make the right thing. So, whoops. Apart from that, no particular plan. Do we have everything we need to make RTGs or not?
I did make some rare metal at the end of last session. Is it the titanium alloy? Nanocarbon alloy.
Nanocarbon.
There's one of that. I don't particularly know what's that for.
La la la, where are we going? If it's the same ingredients, I'm going to be even more annoyed. Yeah, it is as well. Glass and plastic. And 2 more glass.
Are we going to charge them, the portals, with the batteries?
Yeah, so I was gonna make a big rover, just for that, with a great big set of batteries, and a great big set of RTGs on. Okay, plastic.
Is RTG like good power output?
No, but it's guaranteed. It's 100% guaranteed all the time.
That doesn't seem like the kind of power source to power the portal.
But you don't. You technically power the portals from the battery.
Oh, and then you charge up.
Yeah, so you charge it up slowly and discharge it quickly. Yeah.
I did a mission by deploying a landing pad on Kalidor, so there's now accepting of buggy. I guess that doesn't help.
We still need some sort of we need something helpful. Some sort of plant. So we haven't done anything on the xenobiology lab because we need a a flick pod or a jump pod or a
some kind of flora, I think.
Yeah, but it's can't remember. I'm sure it was not a thistle whip, not a pop coral, not a lash leaf. Then they got snail data. What? Then it goes on about snails.
Bone swine seed.
Pound.
That is at least on the mission. Uncheck marked objective. And I think there might be some extractors that I have forgotten the existence of.
Sorry, say that again?
I might have forgotten some of the extractors that I planted. I think there was one in Kalidor, but I don't see it from there are oxygen lines.
I am suffering from a similar sort of thing myself, yes. Dora, what are you doing? Okay, I've got 2 plastics now.
So on sneaky spaceships, you were working on the VR things.
Yeah, I think I fixed the flashy, but I have, it's a bad solution, and I'm really unhappy with it. But yeah, and I also need to re-implement or redo a second layer of reset camera. I don't see why I have to do, but I do.
I would guess that VR technology is not so standardized, so it might be a bit more frustrating to work with.
It should be though, because you do deal with an abstraction. I just don't understand why. There's a function called it's like xr.recenter, and I call it, and it doesn't do anything. But then I switch to tracking space, and it centers me, but doesn't change the way I'm facing. It's really odd.
I think it might be connected in that you can't rotate a player's room If it has like boundaries, you can't arbitrarily rotate that.
Rotate what? Sorry. You can. No, your forwards can be arbitrarily rotated. That's fine. No reason why not to. Right, medium resource. Medium resource, yeah.